So this was yesterday's art project, and I'm absolutely in love with the way this makes me feel. I sat here, laid here on my bed. I'm sitting on my bed right now. You can see the corner of the bed right here. And I have a view outdoors. So I have this really cool contrast. Treetops when I wake up in the morning, and then this galactic kind of a mind-blowing experience on the wall here. Um, it's a hollow core door, and I paid either $3 or $5 at Habitat for Humanity. Originally, I was going to use the door as a work surface. I love using these hollow core doors for work surfaces because they're very lightweight and you can move them around really easily. I mean, they only weigh maybe 6, 7, 8 pounds at the most. And they're really easy to work with. So a hollow core door. Okay, well, let's give you a little example here. This here is a solid wood door. Now it's solid wood, meaning that these are all wood, hardwood, or real pieces of wood, and this is a lighter paneling of wood, almost like a veneer, but it is a solid piece of wood. There's no fiberboard in there, there's no cardboard in there, and it's not hollow. In contrast, this is a hollow core door. And what I mean by hollow, I mean it's two panels. And if you can imagine like a veneer or 1970s paneling on the walls, that's what this is, 1970s paneling on the wall. Might be a little thinner. I haven't measured it, but it's probably about as thick as a nickel, let's say. About as thick as a nickel. Maybe a little bit thicker than that. And so you have two of these panels, one here and one on the back side, which creates both faces of the door. And then around the whole perimeter, you have a piece of wood, probably going to be pine or something similar, poplar or something like that. And it's probably about this thick, about 1 inch. I know that when I screwed these hinges in, I worked within a 1 inch area, and those hinges, as you can see, the hinge is elevated off the wood here. See where this round part here, or this actual hinge is above the door. Had I sat it on the door, this screw hole, or its corresponding screw hole, which is down here, may have gone too low below that strip of wood. So I raised it a little bit, and that gives you an idea how much I raised it. Let's say about that much. So that's about 1 inch right there. And I still hit wood with the screws when I screwed it in here. So I was I'm very confident that that's about a 1 inch strip of wood that goes all the way around the door. So it creates a frame. Now, that's not going to be very sturdy that way. What makes it sturdy is actually the panels on each side. That's what pulls the door together and holds it straight. Another really good thing about these doors is that they're very straight and they don't warp, because the panelings are really straight and the frames are really straight. They're perfect 90-degree angles on all the corners. They don't bend. I mean, you can bend this, but then you're going to break it, okay? So it's a really good surface to work with. Now, I'm guessing that there's probably a strip of wood, 1 inch strip of wood that goes right down the center here to give it, that strength this way, okay? And there might be a couple, maybe 3, and there might be a cross in there like this, okay? There could also be pieces of wood that go like this at an angle to keep these joints, these corners tight and straight. I don't know. All I know is that the majority of the area that's in here within the space of the two panels is cardboard. And it's just strips of cardboard that's wrapped in either circles or like this. And so when you press on this door, I'll press on it, it doesn't push in. You feel a little bit of flexibility, but not a lot. So that's a hollow core door. Now, sure, you could have just Googled that and read up on that and seen one dismantled and all that stuff. But I'm showing you what I did with the art here, and so I just wanted to add that in there. Now I have this Virgin Mary here, and I picked this up at my neighbor's. They were gonna donate it, and she's a nightlight for me. Oops, why is she not working? Mary, come back. Oh, you don't light up my life anymore. Hold on a second. Well, that sucks. I think Mary blew a bulb. The artwork was too much for her. She's like, what the hell's going on here, dude? I don't belong here. Sure you do, Mary. That's your spot. Anyway, she illuminates this really, really nice. At night, I was laying on the bed, and here's my bed once again, okay? And there's my view. And I close the curtain. It's nice, dim, and dark in here. And as the light starts diminishing and the artwork, the light, the paint colors and all that change, this turns more into a dark scene with the brilliant white on it, and then her nightlight kind of just, I don't know, it's a whole different look. And it, for me, it's actually very peaceful. It's very peaceful because it's dark. It's, it's almost like you're looking into the night sky and seeing the shooting stars and stuff like that. And with the fan, where I'm laying on the bed, I had the fan tilted a little bit more like that. It almost looks like, from this view, it almost looks like the fan is what's blowing these rays of light at her, or vice versa, Mary, we need to get you a new bulb. Anyways, so I'm going to work on another project today. I have an IKEA tabletop. It's a coffee tabletop. It's square, or it's almost square, and it's probably just about maybe almost half the size of this, and then maybe just a little bit wider. So it's, like I said, it's almost square, and it's a chunky piece of wood, and it's very similar. It's a very lightweight piece of wood. IKEA stuff is cheap. It's very lightweight, but it's a nice squarish piece. Might be rectangular, but it's squarish. And we're gonna prime it, and we're gonna do the reverse of this. So we're gonna it's gonna actually be monochromatic. I'm thinking on primarily black and white. Okay. And maybe some of the blue in there still. So it's going to be very similar to this because I really love these colors. Now these colors, the white is actually a primer that I had. It's a primer. And I like it because it doesn't have a gloss to it. Now a gloss would be really cool because then it would reflect the light differently. But because this is my bedroom, I kind of wanted it more toned down. Now for some of you folks, you might say, well, this doesn't look very toned down. But art is one of those things that it's different for every people. Some people want to look at trees. I got the trees out there and I look at the trees. I love my treetops, but this is different. This to me is me. It's a reflection of who I am because I think out of the box, and I don't consider myself traditional, and I'm atypical, I would say. And most of us are. We're all atypical. We shouldn't be typical. We shouldn't be mediocre. We shouldn't be compared to anybody else, period. You are who you are because you've walked your path in your shoes and you have your experiences. And so when I created this, I just really wanted color. And then I came up with some ideas and thoughts, and there's some errors in here that I don't like. Now, sure, an artist is always going to say that. Now, I'm not calling myself an artist. I'm just saying, I use that term loosely right now. Okay, I think we all have artistic, capabilities, but they have to be nurtured, and you have to find your tribe. And if you don't find your tribe, still do what you're going to do because you have one life, and do it the way you want to do it, the way you see it. Okay. But anyways, so I was experimenting with some items out there, and this did not start out the way you see it now. I changed it. It evolved because I started seeing how the colors were, working together, and the shapes and the lines, and And I just went with that. Like for me, this is like a city map, a street map. And when I look at this now, I think about my time in Chicago, the Chicago streets, or all the times when I used to look at a paper map and be like, where the hell am I? Okay. Or you're wandering and walking before we had GPS. When I first moved down to Chicago in 97, the first time with my girlfriend in 95, and we used to wander. So for me, this is wandering. I get lost in here. I'm wandering the streets, whether it's in San Francisco or Boston. Boston's a terrible place to navigate. Oh my God, all those one-way streets and streets that end. That drove me nuts. New York City, it's wandering. I'm wandering. And I like that the darkness gives me a depth where it just goes back. It continues. It doesn't stop. The red for me, I just love red. I just love something that pops. I like color, and I knew that it would contrast with my light blue and my darker blue floors. And so most of the art in this room here is already kind of abstract. These two pieces I acquired probably at a thrift store, maybe 15 years ago. And this one here has always been one of my favorites. Absolutely love this one. It is framed. It is an original canvas. I don't know the artist, but I absolutely love this one. And this one here, once again, it makes me think of a city scene here. And this one, although I'm not a big fan of, what's the name of that movie? Hold on a second. Okay, West Side Story. West Side Story, their album cover, and I think I have it in the other room actually. I'll go over there in a second, is red and it's black. And there's a city, there's a building, and this kind of reminds me of that. And so that was a very profound movie, very artistic, very well done, excellent score, musical score. I'm still not a big fan of it. I like the story. Yes, I do like the story, but for some reason or another, I never became one of those enthusiasts of that movie. And so that's kind of what once I started seeing what was happening here, it took me back to that painting, to that one over there. And I said, I like it because I already like that other painting. So let's continue with it. I wasn't copying it. I didn't go out there and say, oh, I want this to look like that. No, I was inspired by colors and shapes already. And as I saw this developing, I said, okay, we'll continue. We're going to add some more to this. And some of the elements that I used were an old broom I have in the yard, some cotton twine, a couple screws, and what else did I use? A couple of metal grates that I have out there and some chicken wire fencing or something. That's what it started out with, but I started covering things up because I realized that what I really wanted to have was this here. This combination of colors. And this I didn't want to be within a borders or line, watercolor painting by number stuff where you have to follow rules. I wanted to not do that. Although basically I am using some kind of rules. There's always some rules, somewhere. Somebody's going to say, well, you did this and you did that. So you're following this rule, that was created back in 1413 or whatever. And so this and that. But I just love these combinations of colors. I mean, if I come up close like this, that just pleases me. Those combinations of colors just pleases me. And then when I put Virgin Mary right over there, like that, and she's lit up at night, and it looks like, the Millennium Falcon is about to land on her head. Maybe she's Princess Leia. That ain't Virgin Mary, that's Princess Leia. What's up, Leia? Anyways, folks, I had a lot of fun doing this. So I hope that this little video inspires folks. Maybe I'm teaching you something, showing you something, sharing something, or you're just fucking having a good time laughing, okay? Maybe, What are you doing watching this? You just jumped from watching building a chicken coop to putting an outdoor shower to how do they make shoes in Argentina to Virgin Mary, Millennium Falcon, hollow core door. Okay, go get something to eat, folks. Go get something to eat and stretch your legs, okay? You can't just spend all day on YouTube.